Our next panel speaker is Rajendra Senchurey. He's an intellectual from Nepal. He holds an MPhil in International Peace Studies from Trinity College in Dublin in Ireland. He has been working as a researcher for some years and has received several international fellowships, including the one from UNESCO. Currently, he is working as the executive director of South Asia Institute of Research and Development, a nonprofit in Kathmandu.
Thanks, Anjum. Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be here for the second time. I came here last year as a Caux scholar, and I'm very grateful to Sean and her team for providing me this opportunity. Today, I'm going to speak on the issues of Dalits in Nepal and in whole Indian subcontinent. So before I begin, I would like to ask you some questions. Imagine that you are passing through a way, it's a hot sunny day, and your child is together with you. He is crying of thirst. You see a tap, but you cannot get to the tap and quench the thirst of your child. How do you feel? Imagine that you are walking through a jungle, it's raining, and you saw a community place, a center where you can stay during the time of rain in the jungle maybe, and you can't, all your friends enter in it, but you can't enter, you have to stay outside on the rain. How do you feel? Imagine that you want to worship your God, and you are in front of the temple. You want to enter, but you are prohibited from entering. How do you feel? Such is the condition of Dalits. So who are Dalits? Dalits are the people who come at the bottom of Hindu caste hierarchy. They are called untouchables and are discriminated on the basis of caste. So we have 4 different caste groups in Hinduism: Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaishya are the upper caste groups. They do not have to face any kind of discrimination. Whereas the one on the lower strata, Shudras, whose new name is Dalits, have to face all kinds of discrimination in every sphere of lives. They are politically, socioeconomically, intellectually, and of course, culturally suppressed, oppressed, and marginalized. So socioculturally, they are dehumanized. We are sometimes treated below animals. An animal, let's say it's a dog or cat or whatever it is, like livestock, goats. So they can enter to a house of some non-Dalits, but we as Dalits cannot enter to their house. Dalits are beaten for touching the water taps. They are tortured for entering the temples, and they are even killed for marrying higher caste boys and girls, men and women. From every perspective, they are marginalized, they are dehumanized, and they are compelled to live a lowly life with very low self-esteem. We don't have almost self-esteem to defend anything, like to make ourselves great. And Dalits are also economically impoverished by, we were not allowed to hold any land and property, which was sanctioned by the Hindu scriptures, the Manusmriti and so many others, like popular Hindu scriptures. They did not allow Dalits to hold any land or property. It said that the land, property, or even the women of Dalits can be possessed easily by the higher caste groups. It was says like that. And it is because of the consequences of that system that was sanctioned by the religion. Even today, Dalits are at the bottom of the poverty line. They are poorest of the poor. 90% of the Dalits in Nepal are now under the below poverty line, so which is like $1.909 a day. They earn less than that. And Dalits, despite constituting 20% or more than 20% of the country's total population, they hold less than 1% of its arable land and less than 1% of the country's total wealth. Such is the condition of Dalit. And Dalits are also intellectually incapacitated. I have been able to come up to this forum, and it's been a very hard struggle for me to reach up to this level. But there are so many my brothers and sisters back home who are illiterate, uneducated, and who don't know the value of education because the state never encouraged them to study and never told them that you have to study, you have to come in the mainstream development. We were told that scriptures, again Hindu scriptures I'm telling, they told that Dalits cannot read and write. If Dalits wanted to read the scriptures, their tongues were taken out in the ancient days. And it's like not too long ago. It was written on the 1500 BC in Manusmriti. And if Dalit wanted to listen the hymns of the scriptures, their ears were poured with the molten, the ground glass. So such was the discrimination we had to face for the time immemorial. And we also were legally oppressed. In Nepal, we had our first civil code in 1853, which clearly distinguished between Shudras and non-Shudras. It said that, okay, these people are untouchables, they are touchables, they are what are acceptable, and they are what are non-acceptable. So it, discriminated that way. And later, so it was abolished by our another legal code, a new legal code in 1963. And that was there, but it abolished, but still they were practicing the system intact. And in 2011, Nepal introduced a new act for the first time after the huge success of the Maoist insurgency, communist revolution in Nepal that attempted to make the egalitarian society. So that legal document was in place, but the rhetorical part is that still today, so it's been around 7-8 years, but we have only a score of cases criminalized under that legal provision. So such is the condition of Dalit. The Dalits are at the bottom of every sustainable development goals. I can see the Dalits issue has to do more with the number 10, the reduced inequalities, but they are at the bottom of all the sustainable development goals. So now my question is, how can we liberate Dalits from this a cycle of exclusion, discrimination, poverty, and illiteracy? And when you are still thinking of a good answer, I would like to table mine. So I think the state can, in order to heal our traumatic past and our traumatizing present, the state can design some affirmative action and redistribute land and property to Dalits as well. So by that, they can empower Dalit, they can take us in mainstream development, and they can try to heal our traumas. And one more important thing is trust, because we do not have trust over the state institutions. We go with the case to the police station, but police deny to register the case. It is because the people who are there in the police station would be dominantly from the upper caste groups. And if the case happens to be registered and it is forwarded to the court, then the court again tries to sanction as the least as possible the punishment. So such is the condition we are facing, and it is because of that the state is so much apathetic, and we don't have trust over the state. And I think the state needs to win the heart and trust of Dalits and to implement the act forcefully, so that we can also be mainstreamed and developed. Yes, thank you. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Rajendra.